Hello, everyone, and welcome to GQ's Food and Drink Festival. Nightlife is about fun and about letting your hair down, but it's also a very big business. Cities like Amsterdam and Barcelona earn billions of euros in taxes from their nightlife industries. Major Indian cities are warming up to the idea too, encouraged by the potential for taxes, employment, and economic activity. Today, we're going to be talking with two absolute stalwarts who are redefining India's nocturnal game in this special session called Bring On the Night. This conversation is presented by Chivas XV, a whiskey that elevates all celebrations. With its blend of all things luxurious and elegant, it's time to unleash the gold. My first guest is an absolute boss. He's known as the Tsar of Indian cuisine, with a formidable range of upscale restaurants and bars across the country. He brought fine dining to the people and has taken modern Indian cuisine across the world with popular restaurants across the Middle East and in London. He's a man who loves the good life, lives his brands, and is the son of the late great Jigs Kalra. Welcome to the program, Zorawar.
Hey Shay, wonderful to see you, albeit virtually.
My second panelist is a maverick, hipster, and a very talented chef. He grew up in the United States, has walked around the world, and is now serving the cool kids of Delhi with his latest venture, Dadel. He's launched buzzy restaurants in Mumbai and is known for attracting movie stars and celebrities. It's hard to put him in a box, and just when you think you figured him out, he surprises you. He's a doting dad, a sharp dresser, and the guy everyone wants to party with. Welcome to the show, Kelvin.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
Kel, I'd like to start with you. You're known as this mad talented chef. What, according to you, are the ingredients for the perfect bar?
For the perfect bar, for what we've always done in our cocktails is, first off, it's about the whole experience about the bar. It's not only about the setting, but it has to be about the music, the energy, the ambiance, the buzz, the vibe, and that'll attract more and more of that same energy from the people, as well as your service has to cater to that. And we have immense focus on this service and this energy that has to be maintained throughout the experience. And I think that's what makes a killer bar and for a fun night.
How important is music? Because some people say that music, they underplay that. But how important is that to you?
It's actually really important. We've always carefully curated the music, whether it be for the bar, for the restaurant. And I think it plays a vital role because in a different setting, if you're in a place where you just want to chill and have a good drink and be able to talk, not only does the volume have to be at the right levels, but it also has to be something that can maintain that energy. Whereas if you're out on a night where you're out to party and dance with your friends, everything has to be high energy and has to bring up your feelings and has to maintain that throughout the night. So that'll change throughout the experience as well. So that plays a key role in the nightlife experience.
Zorawar, I remember sitting with you about a year ago at Bowtie in Mehrauli. The place was buzzing, and it was a Monday night. What are some of your favorite memories?
I think what Kelvin said is so accurate, right? I remember us meeting up obviously on Monday. It was one of those really fun nights. The weather was good. A lot of people. The vibe was great. Great friends, right? I think company is the most important. I think at Bowtie, we were very clear from day one that we are never going to play commercial music. We're going to play the kind of music we like to listen to ourselves, and we will stick by it. So 3.5 years now, we've never changed the music. In fact, the music has become almost as much a part of the identity of Bowtie as the food or the amazing cocktails. And I think that's integral. It's integral to the overall experience. I think it's what elevates your mood, right? In a way, why do you come back to a bar? Everybody can serve you the same shivas in each of their bars. Everybody can, obviously you have to play with your cocktails, but mainly if you're a straight drink kind of guy or you're a vodka kind of guy, you'll get the same cocktail or the same drink in every bar. What makes you come back is how it made you feel on that night. The memory, the nostalgia of that event, what kind of company was there. And music is absolutely essential to that. It elevates your mood. It makes you feel happier. And in these tough times, I think feeling happy is, in my opinion, the most important thing. And that's what that kind of music does. Hearing the same kind of music that you would at any other bar in the city I think that kind of detracts from the overall experience. It removes a major aspect of the uniqueness of your place or of your space. So I think music is absolutely integral. But the one thing that I would say is an over-encompassing aspect of going to a bar is the vibe, and Kelvin touched on it. But we simply cannot overemphasize the importance of the word vibe, and it's difficult to define it. You can't put it into a box. But vibe simply means the energy of the space, how you felt when you were there, how you were greeted, the speed at which the drinks came out, the speed at which the food came out, how kind and how polite were the servers, did they know your drinks, how welcomed did you feel? I think all of these things kind of together, define vibe. And once you get the vibe right, your bar will be evergreen.
Yeah, your restaurants in Mumbai were favorites with movie stars. Why do you think that Bollywood gravitated towards your places?
So the key thing that we established in any of the restaurants that I've ever done throughout my career is that there was always a very warm, comforting, friendly family sort of energy. You would see people come in sometimes in t-shirts and shorts and even just chappals and sandals and kicks. And then you would see people all decked out and they're just like there's Friday night black dress and their suits and all ready to dazzle up. And it was that you wouldn't feel uncomfortable. It was something that you could come anytime, have the same sort of experience, whether it be a party night, whether it be a good meal. And there was that extra factor and buzz inside the actual restaurant. So even when it was my regular guests, whether it be a VIP, whether it be just anyone who came into the restaurant, they all felt that energy, they all felt that warmth, they all felt that family sort of connection. And I really made sure that we emphasize that even from the moment you get out of your car, when your valet takes your card, you get through the door to reservations, to the host, to the manager, to your server, to your bartender. Even if I'm around and I come by and talk to you, it was all part of that connection. And I think that's the connection and the overall feel of all the successful restaurants that we've been able to do. I think that was the key point that made them keep coming back and back. I mean, you would see a lot of my guests, strangely enough, we would have the highest amount of regulars. So a lot of my guests, not only would I see them once, twice, three, even 4 times a week. And I think that's where the actual connect actually happened.
I'm going to follow up on that and ask you about, things like social media, because, while everybody is obviously on Instagram and on social platforms, a lot of celebrities, when they come into a restaurant, they don't want to be photographed eating, but a lot of people know that your restaurants are famous for celebrities, so they're there to also see people. How did you sort of strike that balance between a general audience and this sort of VIP clientele so that they were comfortable too?
So we had a general all-out rule throughout any of the outlets that whoever the diner may be, if they wanted their own private space, if they wanted their own private time to enjoy their experience, to enjoy their drinks, to enjoy their meal, to enjoy their company, we made it a blanket rule for anyone that no one was to disturb that table unless they wanted it. So if you were sitting there and Zorawar wanted to come over and talk to you and take a picture with you, we would make sure the captain was there, who was attentive enough, and of course polite enough to be. I can check with the guests when they're finished their meal if they would like to interact and do whatever. So we made that a rule. Said that usually most people are very obliging, but there are times when they just want to come out and blow some steam off and have a good meal and get out, or have a cheap meal and have their own private time. So there's always a time and place for everything, and we made sure that the staff understood that and that we took very big respect and pride in the fact that people could come in and do their own thing without having to worry about that sort of thing.
Zorawar, you have bars and restaurants across the country. How are each of these cities different from a nightlife perspective?
Well, one thing for sure, Shay, what's happening is you're seeing a revolution in the nightlife space in general in the country. In 2012, if you told me to open a new space, okay, I would always say go for a food-focused space. Drinks and cocktails are not that important. The meal, the food aspect is the most important thing. Even if you don't have a great ambience, if you have great food, people will come to you. Now, fast forward to 2020, if you ask me that same question, if I have a great location, the first thing that comes to my mind very often now, I would say, maybe more than 50%, maybe 60, 70% of the times, is what kind of a cool bar can I make over here? And that's simply a result of what the consumer wants. The consumer now is a millennial, so mainly the products that you're building, if you're building a new product, make sure that you have at least a part of that geared up towards, servicing them. They are the largest demographic that spends. They are also a young demographic, which means if they become loyal now, you'll have their loyalty for years. So I think the way the market is moving is you're looking at a revolution. You're going to see more and more bars come up. Hopefully, they're all going to follow the rules and they're not going to, be irresponsible. But in any city that I'm in 9 cities across India, and I can tell you for a fact that the bars are the highlight. You'll be surprised if I tell you that my most successful restaurant in terms of revenue in India is in Hyderabad. It's a Farzi Cafe, which is built more like a bar, huge outdoor area, and it's surprising. Indoor, we just opened indoor a few months before the lockdown, and I can tell you today we've opened now about a month ago, and it's already almost touching pre-COVID numbers. So whichever city you go to, okay, indoor is not an ideal space that you would think a bar would work. I'm telling you, it's probably the best city to open a bar. Hyderabad, which people won't have Hyderabad on their radar that much. I'm telling you, it's one of the best cities. Bangalore for us has been incredible. The Delhi and Mumbai will always have their space, but there's oversaturation. There are too many bars, too many restaurants, just clutter. And these new cities, people are willing to spend, but they don't have avenues to spend. They don't know where to go. And if you open a good quality product, they'll come rushing in and they'll be loyal for years.
Kel, you were born in Canada to Chinese parents. You grew up in the United States. You now work in India. How have these various experiences blended together to make you who you are?
So I grew up in a very traditional Hong Kong Chinese family. It was always about work first. It was always about the restaurant first. The entire family chipped in. I started working for my dad when I was 12, washing dishes. My brother, he was a little bit older, a little bit stronger, so he was strong enough to make the dim sum wrappers, so he was responsible for that. My sister at the time was in high school, so she could handle accounting and stuff like that, so she'll help my mom in the front running the cashier. So it was all a very concerted family effort, and it was always based around that, even though it was family and work. The experience in Canada, in Toronto, and Chicago, it was a very different lifestyle. At the time, the Toronto lifestyle was definitely more relaxed. We grew up with a lot of outdoors. Whenever we had time, we'd go fishing, we'd go outside, hiking, climbing, running around the mountains, that sort of thing. Whereas Chicago lifestyle was definitely more urban. And I had great exposure from the restaurant in Chicago and the actual nightlife and the scene that was going around there, as well as my travels. I was lucky enough to work in Belgium for a couple of years, as well as take over a hotel in Vancouver, and seeing different aspects of nightlife throughout the world, kind of melded all back together, where I still take a lot of influences from everything that I learned and everything that I executed in my father's kitchen, as well as my own travel experiences and my own flavors and palate growing, and the memories of the travel from there culminating into this. So and now with this new evolution of Kelvin has taken on a new form, where it's a blend of paying my respects to everything that I learned from a foundation, from my base, yet all these new food memories and flavor memories of travel and eating and drinking out, and kind of building it all together. So now you have the new form of Kelvin, which I think is super exciting, because I'm actually really excited creating new dishes now, where it's everything coming to like this culmination of the new me and the new food and the new menu. I'm really excited to show you guys it. It's going to be really, really fun.
Zorawar, you've managed to blend traditional Indian cuisine, give it a fine dining touch, as well as introduce a sense of theater around the experience. How did you get the idea to draw on each of these different elements to create something that's greater than the sum of its parts?
I've always had this deep sense of responsibility towards Indian food. I cannot tell you, Shay, that the biggest reason why I jump out of bed every day is to be able to add some kind of value to my beloved Indian food. And I remember my dad kind of passed this on to me. He spent 35 years of his life researching, documenting, perfecting Indian food. He devoted his whole life to it. And somewhere down the line, seeing him do what he did, and basically witnessing his effort and his determination, it kind of flowed down into me as well. Um, I've always believed that Indian food is the finest cuisine in the world, no holds barred. The level of sophistication, the level of culinary philosophy, the depth, the variety, the skill, the technique, the amount of time it takes to make it, and it's unparalleled. Which country in the world? Only country that I would say comes close to us would be Chinese, and they also have, maybe 3 or 4 different types of foods. In our country, every state has its own food. I mean, the magic that we do, for instance, in Rajasthan and Gujarat with vegetables. I mean, no other country in the world even pays attention to vegetables. Look at what we do as Indians. Look at the sophistication of our tandoor. I mean, just our barbecue. Look at the wonderful Konkan and the coastal cuisines of India. Look what the Northeast does with pork. What they do with pork is unparalleled. I mean, and some of the best food I've ever eaten. I wanted to build a restaurant where the youth could get reignited. Their passion for Indian food would get reignited. And that's how I came up with Farzi Cafe. And I think that was the first true concept that truly was geared towards the youth. And it was the main sole aim of Farzi Cafe was to make Indian food hip and cool amongst the youth so that they would start consuming Indian food more and more. And I think we all have to play our part. I'm glad Indian food is getting recognition. Still a long way to go. Still a lot of perception problems to overcome. But I think we'll get there eventually. Just have to keep opening really cool, really fantastic restaurants.
That's really exciting. This question is for the both of you. How do you see the future of nightlife?
We've reached a very critical time in our industry because pre-COVID, nightlife was growing exponentially across the globe. In every country, in every city, you would find these beautiful hidden gems where you can go get a great drink with great music, great people, great energy. The problem with post-COVID is that we need to be able to maintain that same energy, that same buzz, that same experience while we still have to be responsible. We still have to be cognizant that we have to be safe for everybody. We have to make sure that we're doing our part in the world, actually, to make sure that everyone is safe. But we need to be able to provide them that same experience. So I think at some point we are going to be able to return to the normal. I think it's a matter of getting there. It's a matter of the industry. It's a matter of the people. It's a matter of the whole country coming together and trying to figure out how we do this so that we can at least enjoy our time while everyone is healing and everyone's catching up. And we have to just keep pushing and keep pivoting, finding better ways to do things, better ways to provide that same experience. And I think we're there. Like, we're at a point where as long as we are proper vigilant on every step of the experience, I think we can provide a fun, amazing experience, night out, meal, dining out at a restaurant, at a cafe, and at a bar. We just have to be better at it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are waiting for that to happen. Everyone has been sort of locked up, and now everyone just sort of wants to connect and over a drink, just enjoy the vibe. Zorawar?
I agree with exactly what Kelvin said. And I think the fundamental thing here, one word that I would use most ostensibly going forward, is responsibility. We have to be responsible in our service. The patrons have to be responsible when they enter a place of business. I think we all have this equal role now going forward. I don't think the code is going to go anywhere. I'm hoping a vaccine comes out fast. I hate using the word the new normal, but it is the new normal. I simply can't wait to go back to the old normal when the only corona we knew was beer.
I want to end this on a high, so I want you both to tell me what your favorite nightlife city across the world is and why.
It's changed over the years, and we as a couple, me and my wife, we loved Japan. We pre-COVID, we used to go to Japan all the time. It was one of our favorite spots. And especially for nightlife in Tokyo and Golden Gai, that intimate experience suited us more. We've done the clubs and the parties where there's thousands of people, that sort of thing. But for us, Golden Gai, you got to go into these tiny little bars that have 4 seats, 5 seats. And the whole experience is that the one single mixologist, he serves you, she serves you. They make you food, they make you snacks, they make you custom cocktails, and you have a couple of amazing drinks and you move on next door. And it's the exact same thing. It's another bar with 3, 4, 5 seats with one mixologist, and he or she will make you their own drinks for you. They'll feed you, they'll take care of you, and you just move on and on and on. And then at some point in the night, once you're ready to stumble out, you go to some local spot and the street food is still open. You go and just eat as much and everything as you want. Then you head home. It's the perfect night.
My favorite city, and you'll be surprised because it's not considered a party city, is Boston. And the simple reason is that I studied there.
Yeah, I mean, Boston is basically a college town, right? I mean, it's got so many colleges, universities, and you have, from small liberal arts like Brandeis to, all the colleges at Cambridge, BU, of course, Babson, Bentley, I mean, UMass. I mean, it's got all of it in this area.
I'm glad you
They all
mentioned
just
mine. I
come
went to
together.
Bentley.
Yeah, and the Irish, that too, and that helps.
That's true. The Irish, I was an Irish town. It's an Irish town.
Yeah. And talking about Irish, I think, Kel, you went to Dublin and did 30 shots. So that's also a GQ memory. It's documented.
That was one of our greatest memories. We've had our fair share of doing a lot of whiskey shots.
Gentlemen, it's been great talking about the past, present, and future of nightlife. You're both total rock stars. All I can say is keep rocking.
Che, before we go, let's raise a toast to the incredible team that you have. The Food and Drink Festival of GQ is so unique and so required at these times. So cheers to that and wishing you all the best. And here's to the future of nightlife.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you all for tuning in and enjoy the rest of GQ's Food and Drink Festival.